Welcome once again, dear students, to my online class. The third semester FYUGP students are welcome to this class. We are dealing with paper 3 English core, which is rhetoric, prosody, grammar and comprehension. In our class we are dealing with the prosody part. This is part 2 of my online class. This prosody class has been done in 2 installments. In the previous class we have already acquainted ourselves with a bird's eye view of what prosody is. We now are in a position to go further actually. So prosody, we know, is that prosody is the study of verse or the principles of versification. Prosody analyzes verse into its component parts: meter, rhyme, stanza form, and sometimes alliteration and assonance. Now we also learned what verse is. Verse, we said, is metered language. Now meter, what is meter? So meter is the pattern, or you can say meter is the regularity in some quality of the syllable. In English verse, the quality of the syllable that is significant is accent or stressed syllables. Now meter in English verse is the result of the pattern or regularity with which or in which stressed and unstressed syllables appear in a line. So the pattern, the accentual pattern of the syllables give us the characteristic meter of our English verse. Now in analyzing that, in studying that, we also have to go to what syllable is. Syllable, we said, is a unit of utterance with a compulsory vowel at the center. And in connected speech, be it a word or a sentence or a line, connected in the sense that all speech is ultimately a sequence of syllables. In connected speech, certain syllables will be more prominent than the others. Those more prominent syllables are called stressed syllables or accented syllables. So stressed and unstressed, or accented and unaccented syllables appear in a pattern. They follow a pattern in English verse. Those patterns give us the meter of the verse. Now in that context, we also talked about the unit of meter. The unit of meter, or the metrical unit, is the foot. Now the foot is a unit of meter which consists of one stressed syllable and one or two unstressed syllables. That is, a foot can have only one stressed syllable, but it can have one or two unstressed syllables. That is, a foot can be either disyllabic or trisyllabic. Now from that point of view, from the point of view of number of syllables contained in the foot, it can be either disyllabic or trisyllabic. From the perspective of the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables, a foot can be, or a measure can be iambic, trochaic, spondaic, pyrrhic, dactyl, amphibraic, anapestic. That much we have learned in our earlier class. In this class, we will take a few examples of each of the patterns, because ultimately when we decide the meter, we'll have to see the pattern of the stressed and unstressed syllables within a foot and the number of feet in a line. That gives us the meter of the verse. So let's see. First of all, we know that the feet or the foot can be disyllabic or trisyllabic. Now disyllabic or trisyllabic. Let us first deal with the disyllabic foot. Disyllabic foot, we said, it can be of a few kinds. Now if the accentual pattern is like this: unstressed, stress, an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable, or an unaccented syllable followed by an accented syllable, that pattern is called iambus, or the feet will be called an iambic foot. An example of it: now let us see these lines, verse lines. I know the way, yet go astray. Now astray, I have already broken it up into 2 syllables. Now other words are all monosyllabic words. I know the way, yet go. Astray is the word which has 2 syllables. So I have already broken it into the 2 syllables. So now let us first of all break all the lines into their syllables and then see the accentual pattern. We know stress will usually fall on main verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and nouns. Grammatical words will rarely be accented. The content words are accented. So I know the way, yet go astray. Now in astray, astray contains the diphthong, so it's a long syllable that will be stressed and not the short syllable up. So this is the accentual pattern: unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed, stress. So that pattern we know is iambic, and number of foot in each of the lines is 1. So this is an example of iambic monometer. So this is one of the patterns of the English foot, one of the patterns of the disyllabic foot, iambic. So this is an example of iambic monometer. Now let's go to another pattern. We are continuing with the disyllabic foot. Now the other pattern is stress unstress, which is called trochee or trochaic. Trochaic. Let's take an example. Rich the treasure, sweet the pleasure. Now these are the 2 lines. Now these again we know, rich is 1 syllable, the 1 syllable, treasure has 2 syllables. 2 vowel sound, 2 syllables. So pleasure also can be divided 2 syllables. So now we have divided the lines into their syllables. Now we have to put the stresses. Now we know which are the syllables to be stressed. Rich, the treasure, sweet, the pleasure. So here the pattern is reversed in relation to the earlier one. So here stress, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. Now this is the pattern, and the number of foot here is not 1 but 2, because we know each foot contains 1 stressed syllable. So we can divide the lines into 2 feet. So here the pattern is stress, unstressed, stress, unstressed. So it is trochaic. Trochaic 2 feet, so it will be diameter. Trochaic diameter. So earlier one was iambic monometer, this is trochaic diameter. Now we know there are 2 variations in the disyllabic feet. They are the spondy or spondaic, where we have 2 stressed syllables, and pyrrhic, where we have 2 unstressed syllables. Now let's take a line which will give us both the examples of spondy and pyrrhic. So the line is, to a green thought in a green shade. So we at once know the stressed syllables will of course be green, adjectives, nouns, adverbs, verbs. Recall that. Green thought in a green shade. The other syllables, grammatical words, will be unstressed. So these are, this particular one is called pyrrhic, both unstressed, and this is spondy, both stressed. But remember, this will only be a variation in a stanza of a few lines. It will not be the dominant meter. The dominant meter in a disyllabic feet will either be iambic or trochaic. There will be variations of these kind of feet at some points. So on the whole, these are the disyllabic patterns: iambic, trochaic, spondy, and pyrrhic. Spondy and pyrrhic, of course, remember, variations or exceptions. Now let's go to the trisyllabic feet. So trisyllabic foot means we know singular feet plural. The trisyllabic foot we know is a foot which has one stressed syllable and two unstressed syllables. The patterns are, the first one is stress, unstress, unstress, which is called dactyl or dactylic. Now an example is cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them. So the stressed syllables, of course, undoubtedly are cannon, right, cannon, left. So cannon has two syllables, so one unstressed. So cannon to right of them, cannon to left of them. So what we see here is the pattern is stress, unstress, unstress. One stressed syllable followed by two unstressed syllables, and they have two feet in each line because one foot will contain one stressed syllable. So as we divide it, we get this pattern. So this pattern is dactylic, and because there are 2 feet, diameter. So this is the dactylic diameter of the trisyllabic foot example. Then another one is unstressed, unstressed, stress, which is anapaste. The pattern is called anapaste, and the adjective form is anapastic. So the foot will be anapastic or the meter will be anapastic. So an example here is like the dawn of the morn. Like the dawn of the morn. So the stressed syllables are dawn and morn. These are most important words, plus these words are monosyllabic, so the stress will fall on those parts, that is dawn and morn. So the pattern here is unstressed, unstressed, stress, unstressed, unstressed, stress, and divided into 2 feet, each containing one stressed syllable. So trisyllabic feet of the pattern unstressed, unstressed, stress. So this is anapastic, 2 feet again, so diameter. Anapastic diameter. Now the final one, that is, it could be, the pattern could be unstressed, stressed, unstressed, which is called amphibrach or amphibrachic. So an example of this is so most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. So here the stress, of course, will be most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. So what's the pattern? So most friendship is feigning, most loving mere folly. So unstressed, stress, unstressed, unstressed, stress, unstressed. Same, similar here. So again, it is amphibrachic. Two feet, it is diameter. So most of our examples are diameters, and one of them was a monometer, but it could be trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter, hexameter, heptameter, octometer, etc., depending upon the number of feet. Ultimately, the meter is named after the pattern, essential pattern within a foot, and the number of feet. Taking those two into account, we name the meter. Of course, the most popular meter in English literature or English poetry is the iambic pentameter. So a line like The curfew tolls the knell of parting day. The curfew, very famous line, the curfew tolls the knell of parting day. Same line, of course. So here, the curfew tolls the knell of parting day. Remember, nouns, adjectives, verbs, and adverbs will be stressed. And two-syllabic words, if it's a noun, the first syllable will be stressed. Vowel, usually the second syllable will be stressed. Then in a word like parting, say, so ing is only, you can say it's a suffix. So the first part will be stressed. So stress guidelines for stress I'll give you, but here even without those guidelines we can guess the stress, again guess which syllables will be stressed from our initial idea about the relative prominence of syllables. So here the stress pattern is this. So it comes down to unstressed stress, unstressed stress, unstressed stress. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the pattern is iambic, and the number of feet is 5, so pentameter. So these are the essential patterns, or essential meters in English verse. So depending upon the essential pattern in the foot is the metrical unit, which contains either one stressed syllable and one stressed syllable, one stressed and one unstressed, then it is called disyllabic, or one stressed and two unstressed, then it is called trisyllabic. Under disyllabic we have iambic pattern, trochaic pattern, and two variations, spondi and pyrrhic. Under trisyllabic pattern we have three patterns. Under trisyllabic feet, those are dactylic, anapaestic, and amphibrachic. And of course we took this most popular example, the curfew tolls the knell of parting day, which is an iambic pentameter line. So this is what meter is, this is what prosody is. So what you need to know, most important thing is that English verse is based ultimately on the syllable. So a good idea of the syllable and a feel for the stress. You should have that you should have that instinctive feeling for which syllable will be stressed, of course based on the guidelines. So the guidelines I'll provide to you in a subsequent class, and then it will be further reinforced, the idea of what stressing is. So I hope this class has been of help. Of course, this is a part B of the class on prosody. The earlier class will give you has already given you the basic conditioning, the basic theory. This is the application of it. So I hope this will help you in your exploration of prosody. So good luck. Thank you.